Yeah. So yes. So we had what we had done so far was that we had discussed all sorts of drama, and still, you know, drama has such a variety that many several kinds are still left out. So it is for you to explore, right? But during Renaissance period, and from Renaissance till early 20th century, what were the various forms of drama? This we have done, no doubt in that, right? Now, when we come to 20th century, as I told you, that literature gets complicated because there are so many streams of literature that come out. Along with it, I must say that literature, in English literature, we are not only confined to the literature of England. In Renaissance period, it was just about England, right? After that, as we move to, we have crossed Restoration period, then Romantic period, then Victorian period. These are the things that we have skipped in our syllabus. And from Renaissance, we come to 20th century. So world in these centuries, when does Renaissance end? Almost 17th century. Okay. And we come to 20th century. That means almost 250 or 300 years we have skipped. So in these 300 years, world has changed a lot, right? And world has got complicated, and so has literature. And now it is not just literature of England, but the world is coming closer, right? So influence is not just European influence, but other influences also do come in English literature. Okay, now we come to 20th century, early 20th century literature. Here, can you see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now here you see, right. So,
Ma'am,
yes.
ma'am, I have a few doubts, but I will ask them by the end of this lecture.
Sure, sure. Yes. Meanwhile, you can have more doubts also, and your list can get a bit longer. I'll wait for that. Right? Okay. So now this is 20th century. Now during 20th century, especially after World War I, Western drama became more internationally unified. That means we include American literature, we include French literature, okay, and so many other literatures. They all, now English literature is not literature of England, but English literature means literature in English language. This is how you can define English literature now. English literature is not just literature of England, because it was still literature of England in Renaissance. Till Victorian, it was literature of England. But in modern age, it becomes not just literature of England, but it becomes literature in English language is English literature. This is now how you would define English literature to be, right? So after World War I, So it is not the product of separate national literary tradition. Now, since because they people from different nations, they are interacting. All the philosophers, all the artists, all the literary people, literary giants, they are all interacting and getting influenced. So it is very difficult to say that this part of literature belongs to this country. This kind of literary tradition belongs to this country. Then drama, in the field of drama, the mode of drama or the technique of drama that has come into existence is expressionism. Right? So what is dramatic expressionism? It is a dramatic technique, and it emerges in 1920s, right after First World War. This is period of First World War, right? Now this is a period when, as we had discussed in our previous class, when we were discussing what was the culture of society like. So this is the period when people have lost faith in human beings. They talk about fragility, weakness of human life, what the life is about. They have found out that man is innately cruel. Okay, so that loss in society, loss of faith in mankind, loss of faith in God. Why doesn't God come to protect us? Right? In this way, men are disillusioned. And expressionism became one of the most prevalent devices, popular devices to show their anger. Angst. Angst means anger. And alienation. Alienation means we are not a part of society. Every human being is alone, is a lonely figure. Why do we talk about civilizations when we fight war and kill each other? Right? So angst and alienation, these are the two most dominant emotion in 20th century, and these two dominant emotions are portrayed in drama. So they become two tools through which men express their society, their thoughts. Right? In this way, this becomes very important devices, angst and alienation. Then expressionist playwrights. The playwrights means dramatists. Dramatists who were using expressionist technique in their drama. They convey dehumanizing aspects of 20th century technological society. Now we know that man is cruel, we know that man is alone, we know that man can kill man, and we talk about compassion, empathy, sympathy, and this all is rubbish. What we are doing basically is nation is fighting against nation, man is killing man, right? So this is dehumanizing. This has pulled us down, okay? And it has portrayed human beings as villain. So, and why and how is this happening? This is happening because of technology. This is what they think. At least this is what they think. Because bombs, machine guns, tanks, they all have come up. So how do they show it on the stage? They show through minimal scenery. No plants, no woods, no colors. Everything is minimal. Then dialogues are just telegraphic. Man is not talking about his emotions. Previously in the dramas, it was we also talked about melodrama, where so much of over spilling of emotions were taking place. And in drama, in tragedy, comedy, they are talking about emotions. But here, emotions are not to be shown. Emotions are to be killed within. Because as they are seeing cruelty outside, Say in the same way, our minds, our hearts have become so sad and we are in grief, right? So we do not believe in talk between human to human. मैं अकेला हूँ, मेरी बात कोई नहीं समझेगा, है ना, तो मैं अपनी भावनाओं को क्यों एक्सप्रेस करूँ, राइट? सो डायलॉग्स आर जस्ट टेलीग्राफिक. जैसे टेलीग्राम भेजते थे पहले समय में, only minimal words should be written, minimal scenery, minimal dialogue. Then these talking machines, the phones and all technology is shown. So characters are portrayed not as individuals. Okay, they are not, one man is not different from other or are alike. This is the limit to which man has become grief stricken in 20th century expressionist drama. Right? Who were the important dramatists during this period? Ernest Toller. He is a dramatist. Then it was Eugene O'Neill. You have a drama of O'Neill, Eugene O'Neill, in your syllabus. Now see, expressionist dramas are written more in America. So how the literature from other countries are also assimilating into English literature. Okay, then some poets tried to revive this genre of verse drama. Drama was written in verse in early period, I told you. Then later on it came in prose. Now some writers, they are trying to write it in a verse form. W.B. Yeats. Now Yeats is an Irish writer, Ireland. So American writer, Irish writer, W.H. Auden, T.S. Eliot, Christopher Fry. Now these are all playwrights who are writing during this 20th century, early 20th century. And Auden, of course, is a modern writer. Till 1973 he wrote. So now expressionist drama. How did this term come into existence? It was a painter from France, right? His name was Hervé. Now Hervé for first time used this term. He called his painting as expressionist painting. Now after a decade, there was a German art dealer, right? Walden. He liked this term and then he popularized it. He spread it because he was an art dealer. He was dealing in art and he was much influenced by paintings of this Hervé and later his followers. So he popularized this term, expressionism. Now this term, which was used in painting, came into literature also. What does this show? That we need not show everyday reality in drama. Till now, what was happening? The reality of human emotions, human life, that was shown in drama. When we talk about youth, we have talked about Renaissance drama. We would be studying. Then Victorian and Romantic age, and these all ages came, and there also drama was written. Now they were all expressing our reality, day-to-day life, and all that. But then here, since war was such a terrible thing that people wanted to not see it, they didn't want to accept it. They wanted to escape from it, right? So they thought that this is not the commitment of literary people to show everyday reality. It's too cruel. Okay, and then reality is subjective. Subjective means something which is right for me may not be right for you. something which you think that this is justified, for me it may be great injustice. So basically it is subjective and arbitrary, means temporal. Okay, that means loss of faith in everything. It often featured dream imagery. So they wanted to escape from reality to the world of dreams. So in painting also this was happening, and in literature also. Now action wasn't shown on the stage. Language was broken, telegraphic. Basically, every person, it throbbed with nervous energy, means everyone was just nervous. They could not stand stable, right? They were just trembling. They were
Ma'am,
shaken up. Yes.
ma'am,
Yes.
Shaurya here. Ma'am, telegraphic dialogue means minimal use of dialogues.
Yes. Not
Okay.
not trying to communicate heart to heart in a spontaneous manner.
Okay.
टेलीग्राम जब देते थे पहले तो क्या करते थे? Reached
Short.
Allahabad.
To
Reached
the point.
to the point. Yes. There is no emotion in it. In the similar way, here
Yes,
there was
ma'am.
no emotion. Right? So this type
Yes,
of
ma'am.
everyone was nervous. Then the unities of time, place, action that we had discussed earlier, they were all discarded. Because everything was in dreams, no reality. The narrative line frequently being a series of stations rather than episodes. Okay, they were not talking about actions, they were not talking about episode, it was just temporary. Something they would be showing here, a first scene, and the second scene may not be related with the second. Everything was broken up. Right? So, diction, that means when we talk about language, even words were fragmented. Because people were nervous. When you are too much nervous, what happens? Words come broken up. I am trying to say, right? So broken up. Diction became fragmented. Grammar was violated. Not even having faith in language. Sentences collapsed. So such kind of drama were written. Sets were very simple. They were angled, distorted. When they are talking about dreams, even when a person is nervous and not having faith, he even cannot dream beautiful dreams. Right? When your mind is not in a good state, even dreams are disturbed. So since their minds were disturbed, so in the same way, their play, their art, the expression of mind, even it was when far off from reality, they wanted to escape that reality, and with disturbed mind, when a person wants to escape terrible circumstances that are all around and he sleeps, you see how he wakes up shouting, right? That is the expression that a person is giving. In the same way, dramatists, they also portrayed it through art, that how they were disturbed by the things that were happening all around.
Ma'am,
But
stations,
yes.
I didn't get what they mean by stations. Being a series of
Stations
stations.
means stations means suppose you are in train, right? And you sleep in train, and you get up only when train arrives at some platform. So one station, is it linked to the other station? It will be completely different picture, no?
Yes, ma'am.
In the similar way, dramas, one event did not lead to the other event.
Okay. They were in a way distorted or
They were distorted,
not
yes, broken
not
up,
consecutive, not
yeah,
necessarily
not
consecutive.
consecutive, not consecutive, right?
We would be able to understand it in a better way when we read, no, the dramas.
When we, yes,
Read the
yes,
dramas.
yes, when you read the dramas. Onil, you have in syllabus. We would be doing Onil also. Yes,
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am, to express reality only, no?
Shaurya, please repeat your question. Your voice was a bit. Hello?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm saying that expressionism was the concept to express the real, like, uh,
Yes,
or
actually,
the mishappenings of
yeah,
life.
actually, they are expressing reality. What they are in what way they are expressing reality? That they are disturbed.
Yes, ma'am.
This is something very contradictory, right? They are
Yes,
they want to escape reality, and that is why they want to skip into dreams. But the expression of the art shows how much broken a person is,
yes. Okay.
right? So this
Okay,
is being
ma'am.
depicted. So basically, writers, they are what you have said is 100% correct. That
Ma'am,
reality has come in such a state. Yes.
ma'am, can you please explain this grammar was violated?
Grammar was violated means they may not be
Grammar, yeah.
speaking. Yes, they may not be. They may be skipping while speaking. They would be skipping some prepositions, some verbs, no
Okay.
articles. Right. Everything is fragmented in pieces.
And ma'am, sets became simplified angled. What does angled mean, sir?
Angled means they are not giving correct picture. Only if you say na, that you are not seeing the whole picture, you are just seeing it through one angle. See, you know, uh, if I stand in my balcony, right,
Yes, ma'am.
and what I
Yes,
see
ma'am.
is, or in a window, what
Just
I see
one
is just,
view. Yeah.
yes, confined view. And when I come to the
Front
other window,
view from that.
when no, what I am seeing through my window, right, that is reality for me. But what you are seeing
Yes,
from
ma'am.
your window, that is reality for you. We have got different angles.
In a way,
Yes, ma'am.
subjective, no? It does it has any
Yes,
relation with being subjective?
Perceptions and
that means no one is having a complete whole picture,
view.
right? So by the mid 1920s, inflation was over. See, what had different impacts. Everything was high priced, supply and demand chain was disturbed, right? Now demands increased. With demands, supply also was increased. Factories started working again. So this is what had happened recently also during lockdown, how the business was disrupted. It happened only for few months, but see how the economies of countries have been disturbed. So in a similar way, that was for years that war had gone. And in war, there was so much of cruelty. Today, due to this cruelty of this virus, we are staying inside. But there, in order to fight enemies, people had to go out, right? So inflation was over, stability returned, and in 1920s, American theater was now open to experimentation. Open to experimentation because they had so many new experiences of this war and the world and the society and different cultures, that they now started experimenting. So this experimentation is seen in 20th century, right? So what are the distinguished features of 20th century drama? First, act wise they were not written, so there were no episodes and scenes, there were stations. Play was written scene wise, act wise nahi. So that means different scenes, they are bound by acts. Okay, one action is completed by certain scenes because they are consecutive. But then here everything has become fragmented. They are just stations. So just 8 scenes are there, and this drama is complete in 8 scenes. Okay, and each scene is tight and compact within itself. Right? Then there is nausea, there is claustrophobia, fear of closed
Ma'am, I
spaces.
couldn't understand the first point.
Drama is not written act-wise. That means Renaissance drama, when you study, it is divided into acts. And in one act will be composed of say 3 or 4 or 5 scenes. And these scenes are
Yes.
consecutive, one action leading to the other. And when one action is complete, that one act is complete. Then other acts
Yes,
you are
ma'am.
having. So that means there is continuity in it. But now in 20th century, what is happening? There are no acts
Fragmented.
because scenes are not connected with each other.
Yes,
Right?
ma'am.
So this is an example of The Emperor Jones. This is a drama. And this drama has only 8 scenes. Okay. And one scene is not leading to other so that it can be bound into act.
It was not well knitted
No.
that time.
Yeah. And but this one scene is complete in itself. Each scene is tight and compact.
Okay.
Okay. Then
Yes, ma'am.
So,
then
ma'am, as compared, ma'am, Shobna hai.
yes.
So, ma'am, as compared to the dramas which were written before, these dramas must be shorter, no? Generally, because they didn't have various acts in length. They must be shorter.
It depends. Yes. It depends. Because previously also one act plays were written. Right? I told you dramas are of various kinds. Okay. So it depends because one act dramas were written very early also, during early times also. But there
Okay.
the difference was that the scene after scene there was connection, there was continuity.
Okay, ma'am.
Right?
Okay, ma'am.
So then what they are showing in these scenes, they are showing claustrophobia. They are in these scenes is shown lack of communication and nausea, disliking for everything which is around us.
Ma'am, what is claustrophobia?
Fear of closed spaces.
Fear of?
A person cannot
Close.
breathe in that. Ma'am.
Yeah, you know many people when
Claustrophobia.
if someone if someone locks you in your washroom
Yes,
and you
ma'am.
cannot
Yes, ma'am.
get out. Okay, some people they would wait that and see that if some person may come and unlock you. Some people would try to escape from there. Some people may try to sleep. Okay, whenever a person will come we will wake up. But there are some people who will shout and panic and just bang the door, try to break the door because they may even faint.
Okay.
Okay, so phobia is
Yes.
fear. Phobia is fear. Claustro is closed space. Fear of closed space is claustrophobia.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then the characters are limited in number. Like in Shakespearean plays, there may be more than 100 characters in the play. Now here you may have 1, 2, 3 characters and the play is set. Okay, and these characters are shown to be not normal. They are in a state of bewilderment. Bewilderment means not able to
Full
think,
of confusion.
full of confusion, not able to think logically, rationally, normally. Apathy. Apathy means having no emotion. apathy is able to connect. Sympathy, empathy, right? These are all pathies.
Yes, ma'am.
And apathy means no emotions, without any emotions. Right? Now, because of deliberate simplification of the characters and incidents, so basic feelings, right? Now, this basic feelings of man in dialogue was necessarily pared down to basic feelings of man in mass. Basically, all people, they are shown to be nervous kind of people having same kind of feelings, right? Now, what happens is, see, some old conventions like in Renaissance, chorus was shown, but in later dramas chorus was not shown. Now these old conventions have come. I told you in Aristotle's time and in Greek dramas, and there was chorus who came and who sang, right? Because they could not show some bloodshed and all these things on the stage. So what had happened, that they were showing, who's there? Okay. Someone wants to enter the lobby. Okay, I have done that. Right. So chorus is there. Side means a character may go, when the character is to be shown as thinking something, so character will go to the corner of the stage and speak something, whatever he is thinking, he will, so that audience can hear and audience can know what he is thinking. That is called aside. Then the flashback, that means what had happened in the past, these things were shown. So these things were shown in old conventions, and they had disappeared in Victorian age and all that, but now it made the return. These are used to expose the mind of the character. I told you this is also one of the characteristic of a modern drama, that psychology had developed and they were trying to understand what lies in the unconscious and subconscious of human beings. Right? So that is. Then creation of myth is another characteristics of expressionist plays. Creation of myth. Myth. What is myth? When some kind of experience is, or some kind of story is raised to the status of that it is so old that it crosses history, it crosses legends, and it has become story of gods and goddesses, something like that, supernatural.
But ma'am, there is no evidence for them,
There is no evidence
for
of
the
that.
myths.
Yes. So in this play, the Emperor Jones always says only silver bullets kill him, right? So this kind of, these phrases have come into use also nowadays. This person can be killed only by silver bullet. And now you keep on saying something which is not true, and you keep on saying, one day comes that people start believing that. So myth creation. Then use of symbols or symbolism. What is symbolism? This is again a different kind of movement. Okay, so a symbol is more suggestive than a word. So some kind of symbols were used even during romantic age. That means if someone gives you a rose to other person, rose is a symbol of love, right? So such kind of symbols had come into fashion during in writing poetry. They were used earlier also, but now symbolism came as a movement. And dramatists, they start creating their own symbols and symbolic devices, right, to project the inner world. Everything cannot be shown concrete on the stage. So we need something that would suggest that, okay, these are the feelings or such and such thing a person is thinking. So that those things are shown through symbols, right? Then the language. Now these all characteristics that you are doing now, you have saved the slides. So when we would be reading any drama that represents this, then again we will find good examples, right? So the language that the characters make use of, make use of is full of fresh poetry, profound insights. These profound means deep insight, something new is revealed through this. Then mask. Flashback technique reveals the inner mind of a person. Okay, so Arthur Miller, he uses flashback in his drama, Death of a Salesman. Willy Loman is the main protagonist of this play, and he recalls to his mind all the past events, what has happened in his life. Those flashbacks come to his mind. Then this expressionist drama is based on psychological realism. That means for 20th century dramatists, realism is a mere illusion. Reality is something else, and appearance of reality is something else. What appears to be real may not be real at all. Right? This kind of thought. Then in the this new innovations are taking place. So these two dramatists are important, Eugene O'Neill and Strindberg. They modified expressionism. They used expressionism and it modified into surrealism, symbolism, epic realism, selective realism. So many kinds of movements had come out from one expressionism. That is why I have given so much importance to expressionism. Now, some critics also say that expressionist dramas are didactic in nature. That means they are teaching. They are sending the message. And yes, they are sending the message. Yes. Yes.
Ma'am, I also have a doubt. So, Shobna.
Yes, Shobna.
Ma'am, can you explain what you mean by psychological realism and how is it related to expressionism?
This again is a separate topic. It will take at least an hour to explain. So let's skip that. We will be doing everything because we would be studying only. Okay. It's, I think, unit 5 in your syllabus, right? So this is why I said that these things may not be clear to you at present because I have summed up a very vast thing. And piece by piece, we are going to pick it up when we would be dealing with the dramas, Renaissance drama as well as this modern drama. Okay.
Okay, so you will re-explain it when we come to the chapter.
Yes. At that time, we are going to analyze each of these points.
Okay.
Right. So basically, what is happening during this modern drama is that it is individual centered and not society centered. Study of man, his psychological problems, his mental conflicts, his defeats, his disillusionments, his anger, his alienation. So basically, they are these dramatists. They are focusing on human beings and not on society. So the colors that they are using on the stage, white, black, scarlet, they are all dark colors. Okay, so those bright, cheerful colors, those are not shown on the stage. Right? Then such kind of repetitive music comes from the background. Tom tom. Tom tom. So such kind of music reveals the unconscious mind of the character. Emperor Jones is living in fear, so constantly that kind of thing is happening in his mind. So music also changes in the place. O'Neill, he is using mask in the place. Okay, then the setting. These are all the plays of O'Neill, Emperor Jones and Hairy Ape, and what you have in your syllabus. So the setting is also important in expressionist plays. Hairy Ape is the most popular play because there this comes in full view. Right? Now the other thing that I would like to, expressionism is over, theater of absurd. This again is a very important point. What is absurd? These are the philosophers: Nietzsche, Sartre, Albert Camus. He is a novelist also. So these all basically they are talking about. This is philosophy again, very deep. I will not go into details. Existence over essence. So they placed existence over essence. Now let's not go into this. Just I wanted to introduce you. You just go through that. Whatever you can understand from this slide, you can see, or you may go to Google Classroom. So there are two pages on this. How did it start? I'm skipping this, but I simply wanted to tell you because Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot is in your syllabus.
We can read it, and then if we have any doubts, we can ask you.
Here you can, in these two slides, you cannot ask anything because I'm not dealing with it, but I simply wanted to make this term familiar to you. Absurd. What does absurd mean? Is something which cannot be logically explained.
Explain.
Something which is weird, like.
Yes, something which is weird. So basically this war had this kind of impact that for them everything was weird. Existence was weird. Right? So that kind of, there's a term used here, spiritual apathy of post-war world. Right? So this kind of spiritual apathy of the post-war world is shown in Samuel Beckett's play, Waiting for Godot. This we will be discussing in detail when we will come to that play. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So this was what I just wanted to suggest you. And I just conclude my unit 1 here itself. Right? So just I wanted to tell you these things are just so expansive and so deep that each and every aspect of it can be covered in just 40 minutes. No class of yours happens to be of less than 1 hour just because of this reason, because this is very expansive. You can go on extending it and there is no end to it. Right? Any doubts that you think that at this stage you should clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, yesterday you were telling us that these things which happened during modern period, they revolutionized the way in which mankind had been beginning to look at itself in radical revolutionary ways. What does it mean? Can you re-explain it?
Yes, you see how radical thinking has changed. The faith in God, faith in church, then faith in science. Science can, God cannot make this world better, science cannot make this world better, technology cannot make this world better. No, this is all radical thinking, how it is changing. And then how different faiths and different these movements are coming up, like expressionism, surrealism, dadaism, impressionism. There are so many movements that they have come up. So these all changes are radical changes that are taking place now. It took it for change in early period. It took at least 50 years, 100 years to change the world. But here, a decade can bring a change.
Ma'am, now the change is more rapid.
Yes, yes. The change is very rapid. And it is
And
changing day by day.
Okay. Yes.
Right. Yes.
And then you said the flashback techniques, like mask, the flashback techniques reveals the inner world of the inner mind of the character. So
Yes.
here, mask mean the simple mask that we use, or is it referring to the genre of mask which was in Renaissance, which was during Renaissance?
Very
Here,
smart. Okay, you have gone through that mask also. That is what I said, that there are so many kinds of dramas, but here mask means not that technique. It means mask was used.
okay, okay, ma'am. Ma'am, I was interested, so I read up a
Who
bit.
asked this question?
Ma'am, Shobna.
Very smart. Good.
Shobna.
Okay, that is what you can do. Go on exploring literature. It's adventure,
Hmm.
and you get so many new things to learn. Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay, ma'am. And ma'am, one more question, a few more questions.
Few more. Okay.
So, okay. Ma'am, no, it
Okay.
will not take much time. You
Huh.
said that during Renaissance, worldliness of the present life was emphasized, not upon that of the future life. Does it
Yes.
mean ki the people were trying to say what they were trying to say ki what you do in this life won't really affect your future or the next life?
Will not affect your yes afterlife. Yes.
Okay.
Don't think
And
about
ma'am,
heaven and hell.
okay. And appreciation of the rich and classical past was reignited through the educated lot and through the study of human beings. How through the study of human beings,
So the study,
rich and
because
classical past?
see, psychology had come into existence, and there were, because things had gone out of control of authorities, and people were gaining more education, and from Renaissance itself, this process of colonization had also begun. Though they were interacting with new cultures, new kind of people, so they were seeing human beings in different shades,
Ma'am, in a way, it is, yeah, okay, ma'am.
right?
Ma'am, मतलब humans के बारे में they
Ha,
were
humans.
observing and they were
They were
writing.
observing human beings. Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, last question.
Yes.
Ma'am, what is and is it important to understand reformation and counter reformation, the changes? इसमें
Basically,
क्या
it
है
is
कि reason?
basically it is important to understand whole of the literature. So go and study.
Okay, ma'am. I will look it up. And if I
Yes.
don't understand, can I
Sure.
text you?
You can text me. Sure. Basically, but
Thank you.
basically, yeah. But we would focus now in our classes. We will focus on this drama. We would begin with Renaissance drama, and you will find King Lear very interesting drama of Shakespeare. You are
Okay,
really
ma'am.
going to enjoy this. And you can go to my website. There is one lecture of my website which I had given as a resource person in one of the international seminars. It was on King Lear. I was not telling you this just now because it may not be easy for you to, because you do not know the story of King Lear. So as my lectures progress, you can go to that lecture also and just try to see what I have done there. Okay. I think you know my website.
Yes,
Just
ma'am. You sent it on WhatsApp.
just latamishra.in. That
Okay,
is
ma'am.
enough. Okay. Or you may add www.latamishra.in. Okay, there you find this video. Okay.
And ma'am,
So yes.
we would be studying King Lear in the next class.
Yes. Maybe tomorrow on Monday. Okay.
Monday.
So you can
Thank
start
you.
just getting introduced to King Lear on your own now, and then we shall do that. Okay. So now let me download this attendance list first. I have done this. Okay then. Bye. Okay.
Thank you.